if you are a personal injury attorney and you aren't building a personal brand, you are making a generational mistake, probably the dumbest thing that you could be doing. And so today we're going to be covering the 5 reasons why you should be building a personal brand. And honestly, you shouldn't even really need convincing because you already know people that have personal brands, but you might have not just connected the dots of their personal brand. So let's get into it. Number one, if you are a personal injury attorney in the US, you are one of 50,000. So there's a big sea of sameness and zero differentiation because let's be honest, the majority of you guys have gone to the same exact law schools. You guys obviously deal with the same exact laws, took the same bar exam, et cetera, et cetera. You guys take the same exact contingency fees. And so at the end of the day, this just makes it so that you guys are commoditized, which sucks. Nobody likes being a commodity because at that point, then it's just a race to the bottom or whoever's fastest or whatever it is. There's no preference. And we don't want that. We want people to have preference for us. We want an unfair advantage. So what separates you or the law firms that get 50 cases a month and then the ones that are struggling that only get 3, 4, or 5? Well, this is something that the Billboard Kings have all known. They've all known this secret for a very long time. They have this one thing in common. Morgan & Morgan, Ben Crump, the Billboard Kings, and every single metro, they know that people know who they are before the accident even happens. A lot of guys get this backwards. They try to catch people after they've gotten in their accident, hoping, hey, you were in an accident. Hopefully you'll come to us. But at the end of the day, they're going to go to Morgan & Morgan because that person already knew who they were before they got in the accident. They already trust them. They already know them. And so recognition equals trust, and trust equals cases before a single phone call is made and before they got in the accident in the first place. So number one, you're either renting attention or you're owning it. There is no third option, right? So what most personal injury attorneys and law firms do is they rent attention. They have no brand. They pay $300 for a lead. They get a name, a phone number. The prospect has no idea who the hell they are. And then you're competing against 3 or 4 other law firms trying to call the same exact person, hoping that they choose you. It's not very fun. The lead value is just the one transaction only, by the way. So obviously they either sign up with you or don't. And then after that's done, they kind of forget about you and it's on to the next one. It's a big hamster wheel. Nobody likes a big hamster wheel. So obviously on this channel, we're going to be talking a lot about how to actually build a personal brand as an attorney, but this is just some of the, preface that is important here. Also, you start from scratch every single month. Platform raises prices. You obviously have to deal with those raised prices. Now, if you own the attention and you're building out a personal brand, then you spend the same $300 on getting the lead, which is great, but you also get additional attention. You get the reach of thousands of people seeing that same ad. So you get the lead, and then you also get the eyeballs that everybody's paying for on billboards and everything else that builds up the awareness. So that way, whenever somebody gets in an accident, they already know you. Make sense? So prospect recognizes your name and face before. They already know. And that content compounds month over month. Recognition snowballs over time. So your cost per lead actually gets cheaper over time instead of higher. Wouldn't that be nice? Now, lead buying is linear, straight graph. Put one in, get one out. Put 2 in, get 2 out. Brand building compounds. So when you're lead buying, you spend X, you get Y, you stop spending, leads stop. No flywheel, no acceleration. Now, whenever you're brand building, you get some compounding. Warren Buffett says that's the 8th wonder of the world. It's pretty nice. So it follows a hockey stick curve. It's a little slow early on, but then it gets explosive. So as an example, month 3, you start to get some recognition. Month 6, you get some repeated exposure. People start to know who you are. You start to be a little bit more top of mind with people. By month 12, this is where you start to actually build up momentum on your own. You start to get some market dominance. Same dollar spent, but radically different long-term value. Now, reason 2, the problem isn't getting the leads. I mean, you've probably gotten thousands of leads while you've been an attorney, and you know that leads are not the actual problem. The problem is that it's difficult to get that close. The ones that you already have, the people that have already given you their phone number, their name, their email, said they were in an accident, getting them across the line, getting them to pick up and be interested to even talk to you in the first place. So this is the reality that a lot of personal injury attorneys don't want to actually face, is that whenever they're buying leads, it's all shared. One accident leads to 3 or 4 firms calling that same person at the same dang time. And that prospect just ends up being overwhelmed and skeptical, and they just said, stop calling me. Now, whenever you have a brand, you get what's called the brand advantage. If they saw your video 2 weeks ago, you're not a stranger anymore. You're the expert. And the difference between when you're labeled as an expert versus a telemarketer, I'm sure you don't have to be Albert Einstein to connect the dots here. It's a pretty big difference. Now, what we've seen is that having a brand turns a 15% close rate into a 45% close rate on the same exact leads. So, little food for thought there. Now, a brand turns the consultation from a sales pitch into a formality. Cold leads, attorneys must approve their credibility and start from scratch and talk about the other cases they've had and XYZ and blah, blah, blah. And they start to compete with whoever called first. And that's why everybody focuses on the personal injury space, on speed to lead. How quickly can you call them, right? Obviously, it still matters, but when you have a brand and those people are exposed to your brand beforehand, this prospect already believes that you're the expert. So if some rando starts calling them and saying, hey, we're from XYZ law firm, they're like, no, I want to talk to you. Big difference. Now, this is from one of my favorite books called Influence. This is the authority principle. People defer to perceived experts. So if they perceive you as an expert, they're going to defer their decision-making to you. And they're going to ultimately choose you if they believe you're an expert, which is what we're building out here. Now, number 3, you stop chasing, you start attracting. So a lot of the advertising ends up just being an outbound grind. You're calling leads, they don't answer, voicemails never get returned, phone tag for days, XYZ. And 84% of solo and small firm attorneys cite that work-life balance is their top priority, yet they spend their days chasing cold leads. Having a brand reverses that relationship. So instead of you pursuing the prospect comes to you. Pretty nice. It's like a magnet. One video can be 10,000 pre-sold prospects. When you're running ads and people see your face, they're constantly getting warmed up to the idea of you and your brand in your firm. So without a brand, you have to have this conversion engine where you or your paralegal are on the phone. It's one-to-one. It doesn't scale. It's what's broken with a lot of law firms. But with a brand, you build out this conversion engine. And now the conversion engine is your content. That one video teaches people about who you are, why you're great, your previous case studies, examples, and, obviously the different cases that you've handled. And you're able to educate 1 or 10,000 people at the same time. Now, number 4 is that referrals are the gold standard. Everybody who owns a law firm says, well, one of the ways that we grow is referrals, but they don't really know how the heck they even get the referrals. They just kind of happen. It's not a very good business. It's more like just praying that things work out. Now, whenever you have a brand, that turns the difference from passive luck into an active engine, from something that happens by chance to something that happens on purpose. Now, referrals obviously have the highest close rate, the lowest fee sensitivity, because if you did great work for one of their friends, they're not going to care if there's some other guy advertising to them. Their friend already went with you and had a great outcome. Why wouldn't they go with you? So they have the lowest fee sensitivity, 0 acquisition costs, but you can't just turn it on. You can't turn it on like an ad, right? Now, a friend says, call my lawyer, the prospect, then just Googles your name. Now, without a brand, you have a generic website, a few reviews. With the brand, you have professional videos, a polished presence, and referrals come 10 times more to you because you're actually able to systemize it. And people are actually able to make the connection between who they worked with and the brand name that you built out. Now, at the end of the day, this is all something that we're just talking about. Whenever we're talking about building a brand, is just giving people something that's actually worth sharing, something that's valuable, something that they are going to be able to recognize and be able to look at and refer to. Now, number 5 here, everything else in the PI marketing space can be outspent, outbid, or stolen. Your brand cannot. So, obviously, if you are running Google ads, somebody could just start paying more for your keywords. If you have SEO ranking number 1, somebody could just hire a really good SEO company and then just rank higher than you. If you have really great reviews, somebody could just get more reviews, etc. You have a big billboard, somebody else get a bigger billboard. But if you have something that is unable to be copied, like your face, your brand, your voice, your story, your trust, your authority, then you're operating in a completely different league. And that's where we want to be. And so all of the big boys are doing it. Morgan and Morgan and all of those guys have known this for decades. And that's why they're worth gazillion dollars, right? And if you want to be worth a gazillion dollars, at least just get your firm to a place that you're not having to be on this hamster wheel of not knowing where your next lead's coming from, where your next case is coming from, then building a brand and starting to plant those seeds today. Like, the whole saying goes where it's like the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. But if you haven't done that, then the best time is today. This is what branding is. So build out your brand ASAP. We're going to be talking about how to actually build out your brand on this channel. So if you want to see that, go ahead and drop me a subscribe and we'll talk about some exclusive strategies there. Now, the first personal injury attorney to build a brand in your market owns that position forever. So if somebody's already done this in your market, which is probably the case, then you just have to take a new positioning. This is called a first mover's advantage. So if you're able to take a new positioning that somebody else hasn't taken yet, then you're going to be able to own that in the prospect's mind forever. So brand turns a practice into a business. The practice built on purchase leads and zero transferable value. You turn off the lead source and the firm dies, versus a business that's built on a brand, has enterprise value, and attracts cases independently. That's where you want to be. That's what actually attracts mergers and acquisitions anyway. So if you're ever wanting to sell the business. Now, you have two paths. You could continue as is, keep renting attention month after month, keep competing with 3 other firms for every single prospect that you get, and then just watch your cost per case just continue to climb into infinity, which is not fun. Or path B is you can start building your brand. You own the asset, the compounds, win the leads that you're already paying for, and flip from chasing to attracting. So if you want to do that, go ahead and book a call down below. Also, I'm just going to drop a ton of free content on this channel. So if you don't want to book a call, totally cool. I'm going to be sharing some of our best practices in the next couple of weeks anyways. But there is going to be a link down below where you can book a call with me and learn more exactly what we do here at Destro. Move that out of the way. There you go. That's it for this video. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.